Hello, hello, and welcome to the Anatomy of a Realtor, where we are building peak performance one muscle group at a time. Because you see, just like the human body, real estate is comprised of numerous interconnected parts, each which are vital to the health and success of your real estate career. So today I'm joined by my guest, David Buck. But before we get to David, let me tell you a little bit more about the anatomy. So, my name is Mike Seiler. I'm your host. I've been a realtor since 2013. I spent half of my real estate career as a high performing realtor, averaging over 100 transactions between me and my teammate. In today's dollars, I should probably be retired. I should probably be somewhere with a background like David, but yeah, I'm still stuck in North America, in Canada. Halfway through my real estate career, I decided to branch off. I started a real estate franchise, Century 21, and today we boast over 45 world-class realtors on our team. We have 7 office locations, and we are ranked 4th position in our real estate board. So we're doing pretty good, and I'm taking my skills and my knowledge, and I'm bringing them back to you guys, trying to elevate the real estate. My first guest today is David Buck, and he's not a realtor. And you might be saying to yourself, like,
I'm
how does
not a
that even make
realtor.
sense?
This seems
Yeah.
off.
It does seem off, right? So I have
But I
an
have bought a
analogy.
house before, Mike. I have bought a house before, so
He has bought a house, and he's when we get into this, you're going to realize that David has so incredibly much to offer. But I have a picture to draw for you guys. When you take the most iconic sports player in the world, David, can you guess who I'm going to talk about? Most famous
I mean,
sports player in the world.
Messi,
Who? All right, I'm
Lionel
going to talk about
Messi is
Michael
probably
Jordan.
Lionel Messi. Well, maybe in North America. In the world, it would be Messi.
Oh, Messi. Okay. You know what? Whoever's watching this probably agrees with him. I'm going to talk about Messi or Michael Jordan. It's all good. See, when you take
Okay,
Michael
let's go
Jordan,
Michael Jordan. Sure.
in the peak of his career, how many people do you think surrounded him? And I'm just going to throw out some names. So you had Phil Jackson and Dean Smith as 2 coaches, right? And then you had
Okay.
Falk, which was his agent of change. Like without Falk and his mom, it's questionable whether or not Jordan would have a career today. Uh, and his line with Air Jordans and whatnot. But not only that, like, do you think that Jordan probably had a dietitian, a physiotherapist, a psychotherapist,
Massage.
a massage therapist, like all these people that were instrumental in ensuring that he was ready on game day. And so even if this only amounted to 5 or 10% of Jordan's career, these people were instrumental to making sure he showed up on game day and he was ready. And so in the same way, like most real estate coaches, focus on, interviewing or talking just real estate lingo, and we've all heard it before. We've heard about CRMs and websites and door knocking and cold calling and prospecting and, working our sphere of influence. And at the end of the day, all these things are true, but what causes us to get to that point where we're actually able to do these things that we know we ought to do? And there's just so much more to being a successful realtor than just those scripted items. So today I'm interviewing David Buck. I want to tell you a little bit about David. I've known David about as long as I've been in real estate because I moved to the Grey Bruce area. David was a member at the church that I attend, still is. And David's the type of guy who would be like climbing over the pews at church to get into a seat. Like no one does that, right? He's the guy who, I would always say, like he's the man of man. Like he's just the epitome of what you would describe as a truly awesome mailman, right? He's a professional golfer. He travels the world as an entrepreneur. When I first met him, he was just like a world-renowned wedding photographer. And I'm gonna actually take a moment to share my screen here because David doesn't know I'm gonna do this, but we're gonna just show you uh, some of the photos that this man has shot in his career. So, like I said,
Hey,
traveling the world, people.
that go back to that last one. That's one of your realtors in there.
Yeah, one of my realtors. There you go, Tim Matthews. Shout out to Tim. So
Yeah.
I mean, people would call him and fly him out, pay him thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to travel the world and take pictures of big moons, of starry skies, of resorts and bridges and
Yeah.
deserts. Like, where is this, David?
That is in Death Valley, Nevada.
That
California,
is
actually. I think it's on
crazy.
the California side. Death Valley, California.
So
Specifically in
just
the
an
Mesquite
incredibly
Dunes.
talented photographer, and and then something happened to all of us. COVID happened, and it interrupted the industry, and it interrupted how many of us did business. And while he's still a photographer, David pivoted part of his career. He still continues to travel the world. And I like this last photo here because this basically summarizes who David is right here. I mean, some would call that child abuse, but this is David. This is the adventurous David, just wanting to explore life and have a great time while he's doing it. So, um, today's topic is how to be an awesome realtor, and uh, there's no better person I can think of just to talk about awesomeness, about storytelling, about branding, about thinking outside the box than David. So I'd like to just turn the floor to David for a moment. Tell me a little bit about what's going on. Tell me about this
Well,
background. What are you doing, David?
okay, so part of the pivot for us has been to thought coaching. We discovered that one of the things that we've been doing for the last 20 years, uh, because we love it and because we care about people and we want to see people grow, uh, has been changing the way that people think to live outside the box. And the crazy thing about it is, every story that you're ever going to tell to any one of your friends or family members at a party or in a bar or just over dinner is going to be something that happened that was outside the norm. Yet we build our lives around these boxes and these norms of, oh, no, no, I just want to do the same thing every day, every day, every day, so that in the future I can do this, so that in the future I can do this. And then you get to the future and you realize, I didn't want that, or I'm not even alive, or I can't move, or I can't walk. There was this little story that we had. We were in Pompeii, Italy, and Miles was my youngest was 9 months old. My oldest was just turned 3, and we went to Italy for a month. We were like, well, hey, we got kids. We'll travel. We'll see what this thing's all about. And it wasn't nearly as hard as you think it should be because there were kids there too. Anyways, long story short, we finished. We were tired. Pompeii is on a hill. It's a seaside village. It's sloped and there's big rocks that you have to walk over. We were tired, pushing a 2-man stroller, one of those sit-stand strollers. And we get back to the car, and as we're getting to the car, this tour bus pulls up, and it just unloads with people in walkers, in canes, like just barely making it down the step of the handicap step of the bus. They couldn't even really get off the bus. And it's like, okay, well, I just put myself in their shoes. We all did. We sat there and just kind of like watched these people get off the bus very slowly, and said to ourselves, even if, okay, let's imagine any one of these people worked their lives to be able to go see parts of Italy and dreamt of being overseas and doing something different, and finally got there, they're not even going to see it. They can't even get past the front gate because the first thing you get to is a big slope with Roman roads from 2,000 years ago with these giant stones that you can't walk over unless you walk up onto the sidewalk, and like it's just not going to happen. And so we in North America love to build our lives around these consistence, well, if I just do this a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, but life doesn't happen in little bits. It happens in like big leaps and bounds and crazy things, which we tell our kids and we tell our friends and tell everybody else, and we all love them, but sometimes we don't have the cojones to actually go get them. So the background behind me is, okay, yes, COVID did us a disservice and destroyed our industry and our business as it was. And we were going to have to pivot and do something anyways, something different anyways. So we figured we'll just go do exactly what we want to do and try that out first. And so we are currently in Javia, Spain, living with 10 of us in a 5-bedroom villa for this month. And then we're off to Cyprus next month. We are working from here. We are producing content from here. I'm doing everything from landscape photography to drone videography through YouTube, like those long, slow Apple TV style videos. And I'm coaching people on how to get what they actually want in life. So those three things kind of put together put us here right now. And if I turn the camera around just real quickly, because I can, we've got our lovely pool and sunshine behind. So it's a good day. It's a good day. Went out this morning and got some beautiful drone footage. I can't show it to you because it's on my phone, which is capturing this right now. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And the funny thing, Mike approached me about this, and he says, "Well, I want you on." I said, "Great, that's fantastic. I love realtors, and I love talking about realtors." Actually, Mike invited me to be a realtor with his brokerage at one point, to which I said, "No, not for me, thank you." But but I have lots of thoughts, and I have a lot of friends who are, and I've met a lot through the years. And one of the things that you learn about me, I'm sure Mike already has, is that I will always ask the question. And I'll always listen to the answer, because people have so much knowledge around us and so much passion around us. If we just poke people to get passionate about what they're talking about, all of a sudden it's like, oh, yes, I want to talk. And then I get to learn everything that you're passionate about. So I even spoke with, and we'll bring this up a little bit later when we start talking about the anatomy of a realtor, but I even spoke with the at the time, about 5 years ago, the number one realtor in Los Angeles over a round of golf. And I'll tell you what he told me to. So get you peeked into this
So
episode.
cool. So good. Yeah, and guys, David was saying, like COVID disrupted the wedding industry, and guess what? Our industry is constantly being challenged and being disrupted, and we have to always be willing to pivot and learn. And I'm actually just in 3 days, I'm going to be interviewing an AI expert, and we're going to be debating. We're going to be talking about how AI is going to benefit the real estate industry. But at the end of that podcast, he's going to defend how AI is not going to wreck the real estate agent. And I'm going to argue the fact that AI is absolutely going to destroy the real estate agent. So get ready to
Ooh, that
possibly
sounds
be
exciting.
pivoting in your own real estate career. Now, it is not all doom and gloom, but let me tell you guys have to be growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. And so I think that this podcast, this platform is a great platform for you guys to be growing in your real estate career. So, David, like you said, I've asked you, if you'd consider being a realtor. I can tell you one thing about David where he cannot be a realtor, and the fact where he's sitting now and his desire to not be stationary. That
Yeah,
is the number one reason why David could never ever succeed
yeah.
at real estate, because yes, as a real estate agent, you need to be on call basically 24/7. Now, what's funny though is most realtors would confess that when they decide to take a vacation, that's when they get the busiest. So, dang, maybe you should just get your license and your business would just explode.
See,
But
I'll
now,
get my
if you were
license,
to
Mike, and
become
then
a
I'll
real
just
estate
pass it on to somebody else.
That's right. That's right. So now,
Yeah,
if you were to become a realtor, let's just think outside the box for a moment. Give
sure.
me a top one, two, or three things that you've witnessed in the industry. How you might. I want to talk about some of the pros and cons. So let's save the negatives to last, because I like to think positive first. What are some of the things that you might do a little bit differently than you see currently being done in the industry?
I would talk with real words to begin with. You look at the seasoned veteran people who are really good at relationships and really good at talking to people and good at being realtors, is they've dropped all of the industry jargon from their vocabulary. They speak like real people. It's like having a conversation with a friend, not like having a conversation with a realtor. Um, Basically, there's this there's this there's paradigm in the real estate market and in any market, any industry, that peers love to talk in the language of that they each understand. You know, ROIs or listings or um, see, I don't really know the real estate jargon per se, but there are words that you guys use that say realtor, realtor, realtor. It's kind of like lawyers talking about contracts, or um, you know, baseball players talking about pitch speeds. Yes, the intricacies are super important for you, but for me as a customer, they're absolutely not important. I won't even understand them, and it will distance me and make me feel like you're not connected to me. You don't understand me. Well, you're not even speaking words that I know. So the first thing I would do is talk like a real person.
Mm-hmm. So
And
good.
sadly, that goes
You
very
know,
overrated or
yeah,
underrated,
yeah.
I should say.
It's kind of it's a little bit of a rabbit trail on that, but I always say like to my agents, like one of the most important things that we can do as realtors to succeed in real estate is just go do life. Like enjoy your life. Like go get a gym membership, go volunteer at the local soup kitchen. Like in my own career when I was selling, I joined a board for a nonprofit organization. It was a charity that I believed in. Like I wasn't there to generate leads. I wasn't there for real estate. I didn't talk about real estate. But in 1 year of being on that board, I think I counted 4 or 5 real estate transactions. And it's interesting when you connect with people just on a heart level, then people just want to use you. I mean, it's just a byproduct to say, "Oh, you're a realtor. I need to sell my house." No, I wouldn't think about using anyone else because we're connected on an emotional, on a heart
All
level,
right.
and
All
so
right, Mike, do
that
you
just
know how
kind
you
of
get
pairs up.
anybody connected with you? Do you know how to
Say
get
that again.
anybody connected with? Do you know how to get anybody connected with you?
How? Tell me.
People love people who love them. Think about that for
People
a
love
second.
people.
People love
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
love them. So if if
Yeah.
if I make you feel good like that, you're going to like me. That
Mm-hmm.
you can boil it down to any you can talk about this for hours, but you will always boil it down to if I make a person feel good. Okay, there was a guy who came yesterday morning to fix something in the pool. Okay, turns out he did speak English. I speak Spanish and French too, so I mean, there's not too much of a language barrier for me here. But guy shows up. He's from England, and he comes up, and I happened to be flying my drone at that point. He was interested. Okay, so he's already like, oh, okay, there's some interest there. So he kind of comes over, and I looked over and could see the look in his eye, kind of peering that way. And I said, hey man, do you want to come see what I'm having a look at? It's really cool. Yeah, absolutely. He already likes me. I've already made a friend. I've already made a future real estate transaction in this setting if I was a realtor. Okay. I was on a driving range
Right.
a couple of weeks back. I've got a podcast episode talking about that just from this week, where I could see what was happening. There was a bunch of ladies who'd never been golfing with their men who were going golfing with dad. Okay, so now the ladies are going shopping, the men are going golfing. Dad is getting his boys to himself for 5 hours while they're golfing, which I'm sure he doesn't get very often anymore because the girls are around or the wife's around, whatever. And you can see the look on his face. He's like, he's just happy to be there. So I poked at that button and said, hey man, you're going to have an awesome day with your kids, aren't you? He likes me. It's just being a human. It's just being a person. So you want to succeed at
Mm-hmm.
being a realtor, just be a person. Just be human.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll quote our pastor. Pastor Tim always says, "People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care." And like, I mean, you don't need to fake it. Like, just go out and be human. And if you suck at that, then stay tuned to our podcast because this is what we're going to explore. We're going to explore how you can improve being awesome, improve being a better person. Because at the end of the day, when you succeed at that, you will begin to succeed at real estate. So let's talk about the
Right.
flip side of that, and because we talk about like how to be a successful realtor, you're gonna want to be more human.
Before we go to the flip side, let me jump on that for a second. So
Cool.
the thing about if I go trying to find somebody who is looking for a realtor, the window of opportunity is so small. Like the time that that's saying, "Oh, I don't have a realtor, I need to find one," is like is minutes. There's one. There's 500 of them in town. Just pick one. I can find a realtor. However, if I had already somebody in mind, then there is no option, right? So the
Hmm.
decision of who would I sell my house with doesn't matter to me as a seller until I'm ready to sell my house. So the time that you're getting clients is the time before people are ever interested in selling their houses or buying a house. And so when we say, oh, well, are you looking to sell your house lately? It's like, back off, none of your business. I don't want to talk to you. I don't like you now. And that was the funny thing. At the same time, I had another realtor about 5 years ago I was doing some video work for, and he asked a few questions, and I didn't know the answer to them. So I called all the people that I knew, or just asking questions to people and saying, okay, do you have a realtor? Yes or no? And if they said yes, I'd say, why do you like them? What's the barrier? What's the thing that makes you like your realtor? Like, yep, there's somebody I would go to. And the barrier was, I don't hate them.
I like it.
If you're not hated, you're better than all the other ones as a general, because whether we like it or not, realtors have a perception
Stigma
of people.
Yeah.
They have a stigma, and it's not a great one. And and that's fine. That's just truth. That's the world you live in. So you have to rise. You have to be the cream of the not so good stuff to be a little bit better. But if somebody likes you, then how much better is that than I can tolerate them? So aim for just people liking you. Anyways, the bad stuff. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, like we can be likened to pyramid multi-level marketing people. Like you get that message from a friend who hasn't like they're not even a friend. It's like, oh, David, long time no talk. I have an interesting opportunity for you. And it's like, block, right? Like I can sense, I've been part of at least 2 pyramid schemes in my young adult life. And I'm so against them. I'm so against the mindset, and like that's the future is peer-to-peer marketing. It's like, no, the future is like go work. And anyway, so yeah, so realtors can be like that, and unfortunately, like I mean, even as a kind of a real estate coach myself with my team, that's part of the training. It's like we still have to uh, enter our sphere into our CRMs, and we still have to intentionally, reach out to them and market. But not once do I ever, pitch to my team that has to be done inauthentically. Just again, go and live life. And if someone shows up on your sphere, like if I haven't talked to David in a year, and it's important as part of my real estate prospecting and stuff that I do talk to him, I don't need to call him and ask him if he's thinking of selling his house. Heck no. I need to call him and I'd say, I'm just thinking about you, brother, and how you doing? And that's it. It's a touch.
And leave the connection to me. Leave the connection to me. So you be in touch with me, and then you have to trust that that person, when the time comes, is going to think of you.
Yeah.
That's where the difficulty part is, because especially when you need clients, it's like, but if you start poking at, you selling yet? Are you selling yet? If you did sell, wouldn't you sell with me? It just seems not so. It's just not going to give you the results that you're looking for.
Yeah. It's kind of an inherent human trait that we want to be in control of our decisions and our destiny. So as soon as you ask me if I'm selling, it's like, of course I'm not selling. It's like, you're not forcing your choice on me. It's my choice, right? And so
right, just hint, just a strong hint.
Yeah. Cool. So, what else you got, David? Give me some of the.
So you wanted to dive into some of the bad stuff. Actually, I'll tell you my conversation with the LA guy first. So this would be like, at the time, I can't remember, I think it was the first year of COVID, 2020 maybe. Anyways, he was the guy that you'd see on all the billboards. He's the real estate agent for the rich and famous and the big villas in LA, and the #1 producer and top grossing realtor and blah blah blah. It wasn't part of a brokerage. It was just he himself and his team, and his face everywhere, and coolest guy. Like, he shows up at the golf course. Now I understand you're at the golf course, you're relaxing, but he's a top-notch LA realtor, and he was driving into Palm Springs to go play golf, which he does 3 times a week. Hold on a second. There's note number 1. He's not at his desk 24/7.
Hmm.
Interesting. So he's
Hmm.
actually set up his life around being out and meeting people. He had a membership at 3 different golf courses, all um, um, prominent or expensive, which means that now you're going to be around all the people that are selling expensive houses or buying expensive houses. And he would go and he would join up with whoever. He'd go as a single, joining up with whoever, and just hung out with them. And
Hmm.
always the question comes up, what do you do? So, anyways, my question to him, he saw my buddy there and played with this guy a lot. So he joined up with us and played. Anyways, on the way around, I'm asking him, like, I'm always curious, what's taken you to where you are? And pardon the language slightly, but he's like, truthfully, I'm just not a dick. Like, I'm just not an idiot. I'm just nice to people. And I just happen to be nice to wealthy people. And those wealthy people like me, and I sell their houses. He's like, even when transaction time comes, he's like, I'm just calm, casual. We'll figure it out. I've got a team guy to do this. I got a team guy to do this. Says if there's a problem, we'll solve it. But there's no reason for me to get ruffled. There's no reason for my clients to get ruffled. We'll take care of it. We've taken care of it 100 times. And if you look back at your own transaction, it's like, well, yeah, I have taken care of all these things 100 times, but you're probably still fearing more problems happening and being uptight of, or making somebody else uptight of, and making your client pressured one way or the other, high, low, quick, fast, slow, hold on to it, whatever, and instilling that pressure into them instead of facilitating a calm place to
Hmm.
just enjoy
Yeah,
what
yeah.
is, not always the best part of life.
So good. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Like the out of the top realtors that I know, there's two types of realtors, and the ones that everyone loves and the highest performing realtors, they are kind. They don't have commission breath. They don't bully you. I mean, they have negotiation tactic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's an important skill to have, but it can be
But
done.
that's from realtor to realtor,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the realtors, that I, as a consumer or customer, don't have to deal with the other customer. I deal with my realtor. But so your client is the kindest, most stress-free environment ever. You can be a bulldog in there. Great. Those are skills you need. But
Hmm.
like, you're facilitating a transaction between two people who don't want to do it by themselves.
Yeah. Totally, totally. And you know what? Like you kind of touched on something that, it's a sensitive topic for me. Like this idea that, like realtors would be out in the fanciest, golf courses and eating, at the best restaurants and meeting and engaging with the wealthy class. The whole spectrum works because the example I gave was volunteering on a board at a local charity, and they both work, and to each their own. It's really the point in the message is get out there and spend time in the communities, in the places that you're driven to and you're passionate about. It should be part of your daily makeup. Like, yeah, definitely. Like, if you're spending time in the office, I learned this at day one being a realtor. It's like if you're in the office, you're pretty much doing something wrong. Like, you're not out selling. Like, bare minimum, if you're driven to go to the office to do work, then get your laptop and go to a coffee shop and do your work there. At least there you can talk to people. And when your door is shut, I mean, you better be working on an offer. You better be intentionally in that environment so you can focus, uh, on
I'm going to
making some
change your
change.
thinking just a touch there, Mike. You said they're not out selling. I'm going to change that to they're not out
Uh,
giving.
selling equals right. Everything we've been talking
But as
about.
soon as you think, oh, hey, now I have to go sell, I don't really want to go sell, but I do want to go talk to people.
Yeah.
But that's the point, is that if you can go out and give to people, give of your time, give of your emotion, give of your joy, give of your money, give of your service in a community or a service group. What was that? I can't remember terminology. A board. There we go. The board. But yeah, just being around people. Hey, I have some kind of connection to these people. So I mean, you can think of it as selling as if you really want to, but I don't think that's the right choice. I think it's just giving of yourself to the community around you.
I totally agree. And after this podcast and on the page that this podcast is going to be posted on the anatomyofarealtor.com, we are going to have a new acronym for selling, and it's going to be something like socializing and ELLING. And it's not
Look at
going to
that!
be
Look at that!
selling.
Look at that realtor muscle just growing there. This is the
Right. Yeah, because
anatomy,
no, I 100% I agree. Like when I say selling, I actually mean just being involved in the community and getting out
right?
there and stuff.
And unfortunately for a lot of realtors, that's prevalent through a lot of their speech because the early education that you guys take is very specific. You got to take this course and it's done this way, and well, you got to get out there and you got to do your thing and you got to put out your
Yeah.
mailers and you got to do this, and you get into this like, well, guess what? Nobody likes that.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to see that. I don't want to be friends with, it's the there is a branch of the real estate world that behaves like used car salesmen that are always on, as we would say. Well, turn off and just be a person then. Just
Hmm.
if it can be on and off, just click it off and try that, because you might find that people like you,
Yeah.
because there probably are people who like you, and then go find some more of those people that like you. Like the golf course thing with the guy in LA. He was good at golf and he liked golfing, so that's what he went to do. He wasn't at um, um, it wasn't about going to fine dining restaurants or whatever. He wanted to be on the golf course because that's where his people were. Well, guess what? His people buy and sell houses too. So just go where your people are and go find more of them. There are more of
Hmm.
them. Promise. There's a
Hmm.
lot of people in this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Cool, man.
Goodness.
Give me some more of your goods.
More goods. Goodness. I mean,
What's
my goods have my goods have a lot to do with discomfort. I've been on this kick, and I know you have been too, uh, about getting uncomfortable, because as Mike said earlier, you're either growing or shrinking. So if you're not growing, you're shrinking. But to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. So if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. If you're comfortable, you're shrinking. Uh-oh.
Mhm.
Ooh, that's not very nice, because we like to be comfortable. We like a comfy couch and a comfy sweater and a comfy mug of tea in the evening. Our world is built around like, well, when do I get to be comfy? And so to become comfortable with discomfort is hard. It's really hard. So one of the ways that Mike and I have been doing that, I say Mike and I, but really I mean Mike and I, because I just started doing it, has been cold plunging in the morning. And I know it's a fad going around. Great. It's got some health benefits, which it really does. But it's hard. It's really, really hard the first time to get up before you start working, to put a bathing suit on in cold weather, knowing that you are about to get into cold water for as long as you can, which the first time ends up being like 45 seconds, if you can make it that long. But where the growth is coming is actually before you step in the water. It's the moment up until you touch the water. The touching of the water and getting in, that's the health benefit. It's wonderful. The growth is getting up, getting the bathing suit on, determining I am actually going to do this, and then going to do it. But here's the thing. When you say to yourself, I'm going to do this thing, then you actually do it, you start building confidence in your own decision making. That's huge.
Mhm.
If I say I'm going to go do it and then I don't do it, now I'm building a break of trust in my own word and my own ability. Oh, I couldn't even get up and go into the water this morning.
Totally.
So that discomfort and that growth of like, no, I'm going to go do uncomfortable things for the sake of doing uncomfortable things. Because you know what? The first time you call somebody about a real estate transaction that they don't know about yet, or that as an opportunity that comes up, or something that happens every day, it's going to be uncomfortable. And you're going to say, well, I don't want to do it because I'm uncomfortable. And then when you when you do finally work up the courage to do it, because you're so uncomfortable, you sound uncomfortable on the phone. Well, guess what? We can all hear uncomfortable in people's voices. And all of a sudden, you sound unprofessional. You sound like you don't know what you're doing. You sound you just don't give the right feeling. But if I call and say, "Oh, hey George, nice to talk to you. I've got this thing that just came up, and okay, well, but I'm used to uncomfortable things. I can talk to people even though their feelings are going to be hurt. That's uncomfortable, but I have to. So therefore, in the industry that I'm in now, I'm telling people where they're doing life wrong because they want more life and they're not getting it, and there's things they don't want or things they do want and they're not getting. And I got to tell them how to get them. That could be perceived as uncomfortable. You are doing this wrong, but they are, and that's okay. And I'm good. I'm the person to say that because I can handle what's coming back. If you get mad, great, no problem. If you get happy, great, no problem. But we're going to get you to somewhere else. And so the idea that, oh, I'm going to get up and jump into some cold water. By the way, my son did 10 and a half minutes this morning.
Oh, yeah?
I got my kids doing it.
Nice. And you said you're rocking 6-degree water there right now?
Oh, it's risen. We had 2 sunny days. It's up to 10. So it's not the 6 degrees it was a few days ago.
That's a health benefit. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it should have been down at 6. Should have stayed longer, but we like the sunshine. So, and so train yourself to be uncomfortable. Go find something that you want to do that you don't like or that you know is going to be uncomfortable, and then say, I'm the kind of person who's going to do that anyways. That ooh. That's good
there's
stuff.
actually signs coming to the service. If you guys follow Huberman, David Goggins, they were just doing an interview that, and I'll trash the term here, but it's something like the mid-singular cortex, something in your brain, like a muscle that every time you do something you don't want to do, it grows. And when you start to get comfortable, that muscle shrinks. And so, yeah, this adventure of doing cold plunging, I've been doing it in a couple months now. This week, next week, I have my first cold plunge tub coming in the mail because I'm doing it every day. Like, I'm absolutely hooked on this. I wake up every morning at 5 a.m. I do, some light therapy to reset my circadian rhythm, and in the cold plunge, in the gym by 6 o'clock for an hour. And I got to tell you, like, I wasn't like this in the peak of my real estate career. So do you need to be overly concerned about your health and all this stuff to be to be a successful realtor? The answer is no. There's lots of overweight and unhealthy and dying realtors out there that are like successful in the world's eyes. They have lots of signs out there and whatnot, but are they meeting their full potential? Are they enjoying life at the greatest? And the answer to that is no. Like, I mean, I can tell you by 8 o'clock in the morning.
See, and I would go.
Well, I just want to say, like, by 8 o'clock in the morning, something's different in me over the past couple months since I've been like seriously hitting the gym 5 days a week, doing my cold plunging 5 days a week. Like, by 8 o'clock in the morning, my out of 10 radar in my emotional, my mood, everything, like it's an 8.5. I would say it's a 10, but you have to reserve 10s for, I mean, very special occasions, right? But I mean, how many of you can say that by 8 o'clock in the morning you just feel so good, like so good, right? Right there you go, David.
I do.
Right, and he's in Spain. I'm in Canada, dipping in 3-degree water, and I feel so good. So it doesn't matter about your circumstance, your location. It's sleep, it's diet, it's exercise, it's mindset, it's all these good things, right?
The couple things you touched on. Number one was brain changes and that decision making. There was I don't know if you ever watched the documentary on Alex Honnold doing the Yosemite climb.
No.
So he free climbed Yosemite, 3,000 foot climb with no ropes and whatever. And as the documentary of this journey, I think it's the most incredible sporting achievement achieved by anybody in our generation.
Yuck.
no knowledge base.
I
It's
couldn't
incredible.
disagree
Anyways,
more.
they did some brain studies on this guy and found that I hear you. And they found that the part of his brain that measures or that indicates um, like exhilaration or adrenaline is so small that there is nothing big enough that would make him would phase him or would get him too excited or too fearful at that his brain has adapted to the activities that he's doing, which is incredible in itself. So the practice of doing those things that are uncomfortable or scary or exciting actually changes your physiology. There's another, we're talking about this healthiness, addressing. I think that taking care of your body is important for peak performance of life. And so whether it's Realtor or anything else, you're not achieving the best that you can if you don't even care about the only body that you have that is going to determine how long you live. I think there is a connection there. Not saying that success can't happen unhealthy, but it's certainly not helped by the unhealthy. So the more that you take care of this body running properly, and there's also new studies coming out, and I don't know if you saw this, came out very publicly about a month ago, about the structure of the heart and how the blood actually flows through a body. And there's this guy, off the top of my head, don't remember where he is, but for the last many years has been studying the heart and has unfolded like 1,000 hearts, through his surgeries and that kind of stuff, and found that the heart muscle is actually like a singular band of muscle placed in a vortex shape, tilted 26 degrees to the side in the chest cavity, and it doesn't beat. It actually is like a tornado. It's a vortex pump, and that it doesn't actually move the blood. What moves the blood is the electrical charge difference between the cell wall and the blood. So the cell wall is negative, the blood's positive, and so the stronger that cellular electrical energy is, the more smoothly the blood flows through the body and the pump and actually drives the pump. So it's actually our blood driving the heart, not the heart driving the blood, which is really, really interesting for one, because you can change how strong that electrical input is through electromagnetism, red light or phototherapy, positive surroundings and thinkings, happiness, joy. These things actually help your blood to flow better through your body. It's like, ooh, that's getting interesting. So, certainly your choices in the morning, there's a reason you feel great by 8 a.m. because you are making the blood flow through your body in and out. You are choosing to do uncomfortable things. You are saying, I'm going to be the guy who does these things. You're setting yourself up in a positive light. You always want to focus on the positive. You want to bring life to the people around you. You want to encourage the people around you. And the beautiful thing about life and it not being lived alone, being lived in community, is that when we are that person, when we are that leader, all of the people around us follow. And if you don't know that, that means you haven't done it. Because if you walk into a room with joy and life and excitement, the room lights up with you. It actually reflects back to you all of that joy and life that you're putting into it. If you, in turn, walk into the room, well, you wouldn't believe what happened in the office today. Well, now that's going to be reflected back at you, and that's actually going to bring the whole energy of the room down. And if somebody, here's another fun one. If somebody expects you to behave a certain way, and they know that you're coming and that you're 2 minutes out, they'll lower the room before you get there. Like if you're a dragged down person, they know you're coming. It's like, well, shoot, this person's coming. All right. They'll just lower everything. If they know you're excited and you bring joy in life, and they know you're going to be there in 2 minutes, they're going to raise up the room before you get there. The world actually reflects the kind of attitude that you put into it. And so I choose to be somebody who puts life into other people. And so
Yeah.
I obviously encourage other people to do that too, because the benefits are amazing here, but the benefits are amazing for you because you get to be lifted up. You get to be a better person right now, today. Anyways, it's a
Totally.
long rabbit trail.
I've witnessed
This whole
that
thing is a rabbit
in
trail,
your
Mike. Yeah.
I've witnessed that in David my entire time knowing him. He's always been the life of the party and super authentic in it. Like, you know, lift you up, hug you, just calls me up whenever he's in town. Hey, want to grab a coffee? Like, no agenda. Like, just, like he has nothing to sell me. David's never sold me anything. And has just been a great
And I'll
friend.
tell
So
you why, everybody, because Mike, I love you, and you
I
can't
love you too,
change that.
man.
So deal with it. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Cool, man. Well, you know what, David? I think this is a good foundation for where we're going with the anatomy of a realtor. Let's focus, guys. If there's one thing that, to me, the big takeaway of this is we went down the rabbit hole of health, and as you can see through that camera, David is a healthy man, and he's super into fitness. I'm just getting there. It's changing my life. I think if you're not focused on your health as realtors, as anybody in life, I mean, you are missing out on just one of the most important components of life, which is your body and your health. I mean, our body is our vehicle. Like if you had a choice to get into, a Porsche or a Maserati or a Tesla, brand new off of the lot, or an old junker. I mean, a lot of you stubborn people would say that old junker is reliable. It's like, no, it's not. It stinks. It breaks down, and you need to know a lot about how to fix it. I mean, it's reliable. Those couple $100,000 cars, and we all have that potential. Like, some of us are lemons, some of us have broken parts that we have to deal with, but all of us have potential to improve the quality of our muscles and our minds and our hearts, lower our blood pressure, increase our memory, stop identifying as being this negative person, and start identifying as being somebody with great potential. Take care of that first. Take care of your health and your mind, and all this other stuff is gonna not fall by the wayside, but it's gonna be held up by your
Benefits are
efforts there.
unbelievable.
That's right. That's right. So, anyway, David, thank you so much for joining me today on the Anatomy of a Realtor. I look forward to seeing when you're back home and learning about your trip across Europe. My wife and I are going to Europe next month for a few weeks for our 20th anniversary. So I will look for your footprints when we're there. Our second stop is Spain. We're going to go to Portugal first, and then Spain after there. So yeah, I hope all is well with you, David. Say hi to Sherry and the boys, and thank you so much. We'll talk again later.
Thanks, Mike.